Hey, what's up, everybody? Probably by the time you're watching this, it'll be Thursday, May 22nd. Yeah, depends when in the morning. But anyway, like I said, I'm gonna try to pull out more, wrestling content. I'm gonna try to bring like some old favorites back. Just please stay tuned for that. But anyway, Pllana, one of my favorite wrestling channels to watch. Is I saw the title say "I'm sorry, Finn Balor," but then again, this was like a week ago, so I was knew I was going to talk about something wrestling when I got the chance. I guess we can talk about this one. But then again, like before we go on, I know y'all heard that the NXT show that was going to be in Tampa next Tuesday moved back to Orlando at the Performance Center. The reason is that they moved it because they didn't sell that many tickets. So, I guess you do like 4 day weekend or something like that. That'll be fine. But then again, if you have that in Florida, like it's obvious that some people that's going not going to travel from Orlando to Tampa, just to stay longer than watch NXT. But that's just my opinion. But anyway, so let's see what he's talking about. And this video is not that long, and hopefully it won't be that long. I guess I want to hear what he has to say about Finn Balor.
Welcome back to their hot takes, and the first one comes from Rhea Ripley, who went on Twitter and absolutely destroyed women's wrestling fans. She went on to say that women wrestling fans go ahead and say women deserve better, but in the same breath, they're saying she's sleeping with her boss. That's why she's where she is. She should retire. She doesn't deserve it. She's handed everything and never worked for anything, and I hope she gets injured. You guys are the real reason it's so difficult to be taken seriously as a women's wrestler. If you put as much effort into your own miserable lives as you put into degrading successful women, then maybe you would accomplish something yourself. That is absolutely
Exactly.
mind-boggling that she actually put out this tweet. I will say I don't think this applies to all women, but there are definitely a bunch of people on Twitter, men and women, who say stuff like this. I've seen a bunch of tweets like this, and I'm sure Rhea Ripley, being in the position she's in right now, sees a lot of people talking crap about her, especially the fact that she's at the top of the WWE mountain. Speaking of
Yes.
that, we have the next hot take, which is exactly what I need. This says that Rhea Ripley is the new Charlotte, who always has to be in the title picture to stay relevant, and I just don't understand this
No.
kind of hot take. Because if you think about it, Rhea Ripley is in the prime of her career. She's one of the greatest superstars. Do you think that WWE is just going to put her back in the bottom of the card? Like, it just doesn't make sense. When someone is in the prime, when they are one of the best, they're obviously going to be on the top of the mountain. Look at John Cena in the past. Look at someone like Triple H back in the early 2000s. These guys were always at the top for a reason. That is what you do with the best talent. And I'm sure that Rhea Ripley is sick and tired of these kinds of hot takes.
Yeah. Oh, it's a commercial, so I apologize.
Harsh Chuck says that Cena's heel turn has not lived up to the hype, and I will agree. I think so far,
Yeah, yes and no. I would say yes and no. Well, the fans, finally got what they wanted. Although maybe some of them were saying, it's too little, too late. But at the same time, you didn't have that many pieces, to make the heel turn believable. Like I think he mentioned this on this videos in the past that why The Rock wasn't at WrestleMania, and we already know what we heard that The Rock's claimed that he didn't really need to be there, so he going back in the shadows and stuff like that. So that's crap. Like you really needed to be there at WrestleMania. You may not have to like interfere or something, but be like a distraction. That would have really help out, and that can build up the story with Cody and The Rock. So I know he's part of the board of directors of TKO, but right now he's kind of making bad decisions. But then again, he got the UFL as well that he's co-owning, and just all a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, he could have made an appearance at WrestleMania. He had to get physical, but just appearance to be there during that main event, I think it would have helped wonders. Because I think what it is after heel turn, like you hear like John Cena in like a whole bunch of appearances from Elimination Chamber all the way through, to WrestleMania. No, okay, we making it believable. But at the same time, he said he's gonna ruin wrestling, and it's getting the fans like upset about it. Then you got some fans, like still cheer for him. Although he said like in the promo, they're like, you know what, it's too late. I don't want to hear your cheers. But it's gonna be a point eventually. He's gonna go back to a face turn before his career is over with. Because he's like on this last year of of his career. But like I said, I say yes and no to the heel turn. Somewhat lived up to the hype, but at the same time, it didn't.
It's kind of been a dud. It does not feel too special. I think they could have done a much better job, and I think he just might not be a good heel because a lot of it just feels very phony. Like you can tell he's acting, and that's not the case with many of the other heels. The next hot take says that Cena's retirement match has to be against Randy. This comes after the fact that he already had a match with Randy.
No.
Because of that, I don't think WWE is going to pull off another match between John Cena and Randy, especially considering that match was labeled as one last time ever. It was amazing, don't get me wrong, but I don't think they're going to do it again. Maybe they should have held off to that match taking place later, but it is what it is. I think, personally, CM Punk is going to be John Cena's last opponent. Night Yoshi says that Orton should have...
From rumors, CM Punk may end up facing John Cena. As right now they're saying it's possibly could happen maybe the Night of Champions or SummerSlam. So I don't think CM Punk will be his last opponent. So right now I don't know who would be his last opponent is. I guess part of me was thinking like, hey, maybe it could be R-Truth, or his last opponent could be against The Rock, because they're tied 1 win apiece, and that's possible. That's possible, and they claiming they want Ruthless Aggression PLE event happening in Boston like in after Christmas, which will be before end of December. But I don't know who would be his final opponent. Like, if I'm like really debating on it, so you might have to come back to me on that. So I'm not sure, but no, I don't. If they should have, if they wanted Randy Orton to be his final opponent, maybe they could have saved that match that they did at Backlash. But then again, it's St. Louis and it's Randy Orton's hometown, so why not? And Orton should broken Rick's record, not Cena. Although, with Orton's past and stuff like that, that kind of, maybe ruined that for him. But, like, right now, I know he's in a good place. So maybe they'll put, like, maybe he'll tie Ric Flair's record. And that probably will be, it for his career. So, that's just my guess.
That broken Rick's record, not John Cena. Hey, look at the bright side. Randy Orton could break John Cena's record, and that could be historic in a way itself, because John Cena and Randy clearly have a great history with each other. So, if Randy beats his record, that would be pretty cool. Dark Enigma says that Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman are the real baby faces in this feud. CM Punk and Roman Reigns are the real heels, and I can see...
Yeah, I... Like... fans, they feel like a certain way, and there's some fans, other fans that feels like a different way. But I don't know. I think the crowd was it between Seth and Paul Heyman. It's kind of split 50-50. And of course, you still got like CM Punk still, a face, can't do no wrong and things like that. But whatever with that. But then you add, Sami Zayn into this and Jey Uso. So, I believe this Saturday on Saturday's Night Main Event, they're going to have a third person. Or it's going to come sooner or later. So, I'm thinking they're going to have a third person, just to even up with that. But, I'm not going to predict anything just yet. I'm gonna say that for on Friday. So might as well say that's tomorrow. So watch out for that video. But I say Seth Rollins right now, according to fans, is a tweener. Half face, half heel. You don't get what that means? That means, there's going to be 50% of the fans that's going to like him, then there's going to be 50% of the fans that are going to hate him. Yeah, that's kind of common. I think it was that one, somebody I said, it was Edge at the time, like, when he was going after, the WWE title and stuff like that, and how the fans, treated him. So, beginning of that, before, his first run with the WWE title, it was kind of like the same thing. Like half of the people like him, half of the people hate him. So like with Seth, I'd say he's a tweener.
You can see where this is coming from because WWE has been giving a lot of heel sympathy in these feuds, and it makes a lot of sense doing this because it does make the storylines a lot more complex.
Right.
So you could say that Seth and Paul are the real baby faces in this feud, but they're clearly not acting the right way right now. Speaking of Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman, this says that Sami Zayn is going to join and be the third man for the new.
Seth Rollins fact, sure, if you look closely at the end of the open segment, Sami was holding the chair and was in a position to hit Punk in the back. I doubt that. Because if Sami Zayn was going to take on, with Seth Rollins and stuff like that, he would have took that deal for him to go to SmackDown and get that WWE Championship shot. So that one, but then again, twists and turns can happen at any moment when it comes to WWE. But I think I'm gonna say no to this. I don't think Sami Zayn is gonna betray them.
The new Seth Rollins faction. If you look closely at the end of the opening segment, Sami was holding the chair and was in position to hit Punk in the back. And I do think that there's a possibility that this happens. I could see Sami Zayn winning Money in the Bank, and then on the June 9th episode where Gunther takes on Jey Uso, that is when Seth Rollins and Ron Burger help Sami go on to cash in on Jey Uso. That would be absolutely incredible. The Decipher says that.
But at the same time, Seth Rollins is going to be the one that wants to hold that title, world title. So same thing with Braun Breaker, like in the near future, like he's going to want to hold the world heavyweight title. So how you gonna have two people on your team that's going to want the the world heavyweight title or win it? So yeah, maybe Sami Zayn may win, Money in the Bank. It'll be about time, but I don't see how that's gonna work with Sami Zayn joining them and holding the world heavyweight title. So I just don't see it. Like, well, I want Sami Zayn to win like the world title. Yeah. Is it gonna happen? We don't know. Because there's other stars that's like ahead of them. Like L.A. Knight. Who else? I wouldn't say Mello, but I'm trying to think who else. But then again, there is more people out there that that should have the world title. But like I said, good for Jay, or maybe Jimmy Uso. Oh yeah, he didn't win his qualifying match. Solo did. Yeah, Solo's another one too. So things can be different between now and the next WrestleMania. But I don't know. Cross should have a babyface run. I do agree with that because the fans are really behind him, and I do like the gimmick that he's playing, like an instigator. So that's pretty good. And I don't think not that many people had the instigator gimmick. So we'll see.
Cross should have a babyface run. I don't know about being a babyface, but I would love to see a tweener role for Karrion
Yeah,
Kross. I
tweener.
think he would succeed in that position. Something
Yeah.
like Stone Cold Steve Austin. Not necessarily the same attitude as Stone Cold, but you know what I mean, where he kind of acts like a bad guy, but a lot of people love it because right now Kross is very much over with the crowd, and the WWE should capitalize on that.
Yep.
Speaking of Kross, this hot take says that he should join Seth, Braun, and Heyman, and then go on to win Money
maybe.
in the Bank this year. That
Do you look at a gorgeous woman and immediately you think to yourself, no,
Sorry
this
about this,
woman
guys.
is out of money.
This is gonna
She's
happen.
unattainable.
that would be a lot of fun. Personally, I do.
Maybe that could happen. I'm not saying like they shouldn't. I don't know. I just think the group that Karrion Kross was leading before, with AOP and Paul Aaron, that would have been something that they would have kept it going. But they ended up fighting AOP and Paul Aaron. Yeah, it was like right after their match at WrestleMania last year with what was it, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. So I don't know. I really don't know. But just my opinion, I think he's better off, being on his own and doing the gimmick that he's doing right now. So, and I do agree with they said that have him be a tweener, but he is over with the crowd. That is true. But WWE is going to be looking at, is his merchandise going to make money? So I guess it's like, kind of wait and see. Like with, Jey Uso, like all of a sudden in the last, 2 years that, since he broke up, with the Bloodline, he hadn't been on his own. Yeah, he's been up there. It took a little bit of time, but Jey Uso's up there.
I do want to see him be this tweener kind of guy, but if he does join the group, that would be great for his career. I think it would help him a ton because it would get him, TV time, and on top of that too, just being around Seth and Paul Heyman as well as Braun Breaker will just elevate Karrion Kross with the casual audience. Bad Mosh Giant says that the fourth member of Seth's faction should be Finn Balor. I don't know about this. To me, there's just no appeal in seeing Finn Balor leave.
Just from the looks of how they're going with the storyline with Finn Balor and Judgment Day, he is due for a face turn. Like I said, ever since he's been in WWE, he hasn't, been the heel until, he ended up joining the Judgment Day. So I think he's due for a face turn. That's just my opinion. And plus, it would be cool to see the Demon back. But that's just me.
His faction to just join another one. At this point, I'm done with forbidden factions. I think he's got to move on and go back to being a singles competitor.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Judgment Day, Jenry says that Dom should always stay a heel. I don't think so. I think right now he's in a great position to go on and become a huge babyface. The online wrestling fans are starting to love Dom. He's kind of likable at this point, and even when he won the...
I do agree that, there's going to be one point that he's going to have a face turn. Because he is over, and the look and, the kind of like, I wouldn't say took the like Latino heat gimmick, but yeah, like you work hard and you getting the most like crowd reactions out of the bunch. Every time you try to speak, they boo you. You doing something right. But maybe he'll get a face turn eventually, or he probably gonna end up, kicking out Finn Balor and end up, him running Judgment Day. So maybe like a few years he'll still be a heel. Then maybe around that time he'll turn face. Who knows?
The IC Championship, you heard that pop at WrestleMania. I think it's time to turn Dom shortly into a babyface, and I think he's going to be a big star. Awesome Bro says that Finn Balor needs to be the babyface when Judgment Day ends. It would be a bad idea to have Finn turn heel on Dom.
Yeah.
Finn Balor can't turn heel on Dom because he's already a heel, but I know what you mean. You don't think that he should turn on Dom. Personally, I want him to turn on Dom. Then we get a long feud between the two, and then eventually at the end, that's when Finn Balor realizes that he's just acting crazy, and he goes on to be a babyface and shakes hands with Dominik Mysterio. That could be a lot of fun. Your 266 says
Yeah.
that McIntyre is not that over with the live audience like he is online. I would.
My wife would disagree on this, and and honestly, I disagree with this one. Cause like maybe some of the audience, maybe not in favor of with the where his character is going, but he's still over. No, maybe he'll, like you said, challenging for the United States championship when he had that match with Jacob Priest, Jacob Priest in LA Knight. So he'll get over it. It probably would just in their opinion, but I'll just say if that's the case, it probably would take a little bit of time. Because I know he's gonna still have that feud with Damian Priest, and then plus they got a steel cage match this Saturday, and from the Hell in a Cell match that Drew McIntyre had with Punk last year. Seems like cage matches or Hell in a Cells will not work in Drew's favor. So maybe this Saturday it may change. Who knows? But we'll see.
Would disagree with this because I've seen plenty of Raws and SmackDown over the last year, and McIntyre is clearly very over with the crowd. Maybe
Yes.
a little bit less now, just because he's in a storyline that's smaller than before. Because the thing with Punk was one of the biggest storylines, but he's still very over with the crowd. Don't get me
Yes.
wrong. The next hot take says that have you seen many speculations and predictions of Logan winning Money in the Bank, but it should never happen. A full-time deserving wrestler should win it, not a part-time celebrity. Let me say this, I think that Logan Paul is a great wrestler. I think he brings a ton of eyes to the product, and he clearly puts a lot of work and effort into the WWE because he really doesn't have to be here. He makes plenty of money. And if he does have a schedule like Roman Reigns from like 2022, when he actually showed up a bit more, I would not mind Logan Paul winning. I think Logan Paul becoming a transitional champion for a few months is not a bad idea.
Right.
This hot take says that Ring of Honor Cody Rhodes is a top 10 heel of all time. That was some of the best work that Cody Rhodes has ever done, but just wait until he becomes Homelander Cody Rhodes. I think that's going to be the best work that Cody ever produces if he ever decides that he does want to turn heel, because right now, Cody does not want to become a bad guy, which I think is a bad idea.
No, it's
Cody
not.
thrives in that position. Now,
Yeah, I doubt that. I don't think Cody Rhodes return heel anytime soon. Because he's still going to be over with the fans and still going to sell a lot of merch. So, yeah. It just you can't satisfy everybody. And I guess that's the main problem. Because, people don't have that much of an attention span. Some people, I should say. I would say as a 1-year-old or 2-year-old, 3-year-old. But, okay, she didn't hear that because she was going to say, Jace? That's not our grandson. He's like, oh, Jace can focus better than everybody else. And that's true. Sometimes he going to do his own thing, then, see something, focus on that, then I don't know. It's just, some people will have attention span that's very poor. So, no, I don't see Cody Rhodes turning heel anytime soon. And plus, get his rematch at John Cena Cody Rhodes should be the final opponent of John Cena if he still holds the title back then, and, give it back to Cody. I can see that. So, yeah, can do it that way. Cody's title reign was underrated. Yeah, I believe that too.
Now Yoshi says that Cody's title reign was underrated. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think Cody's title reign was solid. It wasn't amazing and it wasn't terrible. It could have been better, but it could have been worse. Because of that, I don't think he's underrated. I think he was properly rated because some people loved it and some people didn't. The next hot take says that Solo should feel more important. I think he will be once he gets into this feud with Jacob Fatu. He clearly has Jeff Cobb as his new, big man. And I think once he feuds with Jacob Fatu for the U.S. title, that's going to be a lot of fun, and he will feel like a bigger deal. And finally, Bubba says that no hot takes, just facts. The official Mount Rushmore of WWE is The Undertaker, John Cena, Stone Cold, and Doink the Clown. I don't know about Doink the Clown.
Yeah, I don't know
take
about
him out.
Doink.
And I also
Yeah.
would take out John Cena. I'm keeping The Undertaker and I'm keeping Stone Cold, but I don't think John Cena should be on the official Mount Rushmore of the WWE. It is tough. I
Yeah,
don't know
it
where the
is.
other two are
He
gonna
should
be.
be.
Maybe I'll make a full video on this and actually think about it, but I would rather put someone like Ric Flair in there, maybe even Triple H. But at this point, I don't know about John Cena being in that Mount Rushmore. Like I said, we might have to discuss that later in another video. Anyways, that is it for this one. Thank you so much.
Yeah, there's a good like outtake on, what people said, his opinion and stuff like that. But I'm sorry, but especially he's now the 17 time, most reigns in WWE overall. Not like the whole, wrestling, but just in WWE. And I think some people, they tend to forget that. And it's just, sad that, some of them do. But, anyways, kind of like his takes on that and things like that. Let's see. But, there's probably going to be some, videos I'm going to check out, or there's some like wrestling news that comes up. We will talk about it. But, guys, check out this channel. Talk about more, about, WWE and stuff like that. So, get a chance, check it out. Anyways, that's it for me. Thank you guys for watching. Please like today's video. Please, it will really help the channel grow. And plus, will help the channel grow if you guys subscribe. And we need to get at least to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so we can do more stuff. Because I do have plans for this channel and WFSO in general in 2026. So if we get there earlier than that, great. But please subscribe. Over 2,700 videos and counting. Now we just don't do like wrestling content. We also do Milwaukee Bucks, comic book movies and TV news, and Milwaukee development. So if you're interested in things like that, or see some more like wrestling stuff, you would like this channel. Also check out the website WrestleFansSpeakOut.weebly.com for upcoming events in the Midwest. Also videos like this, and events that we were at, that we we was at wrestling events, and also Bucks events, took pictures Bucks players, and also with some wrestlers as well. So check it out. Also, I'd like to thank Mike and Robin Thompson for the sponsorship, and Midwest Wrestling Collectibles. If you're interested in DVDs, VHS, and wrestling figures, you can check out Midwest Wrestling Collectibles on Facebook. And don't forget, I know the month is almost over, but we still got to talk about mental health awareness. So please check on your friends. They may need your help, even though they don't expect it. So you could save somebody's life. So please check on your friends, check on your family, make sure that they're okay. But thank you guys for watching once again. Until the next video, you have a good one.